I'm going to call this lesson 4A because we really should have done a complete job of modifying this radial beam array, and I didn't do that. So again, I found a plan view, continuing lesson 4A where I left off, adjusting the beams that are aligned along these grid lines radially from this wall. So I'm going to a ceiling plan that will show that group level, I think. We can see them from level 3. We can see them from level 3 because when you're in a ceiling plane, the cutting plane is below, looking from the level above, below to 7 feet 6. So I double click the group to open it, use the align tool. Here's the grid line. There's the center line of that beam. Let's see if we have the thickness correct. Let's select the beam. We see it's 16 by 32 in depth, and I think when we went to, let's close, just finish this group. So once that's done, when you go to the 3D view, it will update the instance of every one of those groups there. So that one's on level 3, 4 feet below level 3. In this, we're just making adjustments here. So -3 will bring it just intersects the floor. And then this group wants to be at level 2, about where the mezzanine is. I think that's where level 2. That might be incorrect. Maybe we don't even need that group there. Let's look at a photograph again. Oh, they're not here. We need the browser. Hang on. So I'm looking at a couple things. A picture of the building, of the buildings. There are 2 buildings, right? There's this faceted concrete structure in front. So it appears the beams, the concrete beams that sit on these columns are 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 4th being at the roof. So there's a mezzanine level, and then there's an upper level, and then a 3rd, 4th, and roof. So I'm looking also at mapjunction.com, where Sanborn maps with buildings are available, and you can quickly tell from these. Usually these are fire insurance maps that tell you the construction, whether the building is automatically sprinkled, indicated by the AS here. So this is telling me this is an 88-foot structure, glass, metal sash. This structure here is 104 feet. The street slopes downwards, which we haven't accounted for yet, in the site, and that's something that we'd have to do. And then it appears there's a massive element that separates them. So it'd be useful to have this picture. I'm going to record these two dimensions, 88, 104. And let's go back to our model. Even in 3D, we can annotate. You can place these little spot elevations. These are useful. Sort of measure top of roof. So we're short. We're significantly short in building height for some reason. About 20 feet here. $15 feet on this side. Let's look at our building elevation. So I somewhere adjusting for all that and adjusting these levels will probably correct that, because we observe on this building 1, 2, 3, 4 levels above where the columns hold up the rest of the structure. And in actuality, if we look at the building itself, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buildings before this cornice, right, which is just articulation on the facade of the building. These are done in Revit using sweeps. These recesses in the concrete here are done using what are called reveals in Revit. I'm going to pause this, make a couple of adjustments to building height, adjust this building height to 88 feet, and then adjust the building levels accordingly. So I printed from the screen the Sanborn map and a photograph, well, a screenshot of 100 School Street. So somewhere between, we're in Photoshop now. I'm just going to divide up let's just drag some rulers here. So somewhere between there, using, I'm going to draw along that column line. So if I were to follow the line of the building, we're looking at it in perspective, but we can make some judgments about it. If I were to follow the line of the building, let's just paint this some color we can see. Sorry, this stroke. That's the outline of the roof. It intersects about there, right? So I'm going to move my guide there and there, and that's 88 feet. So I'm going to say halfway between that. You can measure this in Photoshop, right? Window info tells you, let's say, yeah, units or inches. So if I can measure distance, where is the measure tool? It's under the eye. I think it's under the eyedropper. ruler. From here to there is 9.3 inches. So that represents 88 feet. If I divide 88 by 9.3, that gives me how many inches I have per foot, right? 88 divided by 9.321. So we got almost 10 inches per foot. So very quickly from here to there, well, I should measure here. Here to the top of that beam, 3 inches, 3 times 9.4. Let's see. So that should be about 28 feet. I think we have that 28 feet. And then the remaining distance .161 times 9.4. 58. 28 and 58. Does that add up to 80? 28, 58. It's about 86 feet. That's pretty close. So let's say 28 and 60. That is 60 makes up 1, 2, 3 floors. So, and the roof. So if we allow these 6 or 8 feet of this roof element, we've got 52 feet, 55 feet left, 54 divided by 3. Okay, we have 58. I'm going to subtract 6. And divide that by 3. This is about 17 feet between, that's floor to floor height. Draw a little sketch. 28. And then 17, 17, 17, and then the roof. Let's go to Revit and see what we actually have in elevation. Go to an elevation view that we can examine. So what we're calling level 2 is 23 feet. That should be 28 feet. What we're calling level 5 should be really 88 feet. That's why when you work with Revit architecture, it's important to use the levels. Top of wall is lower than base. Which is that? Oh, so there's a wall element adjacent to this that's causing a problem. Top. Okay. So that's gonna that wall is somehow constrained. by level 5, which we just tried to change. So we have to change this to L5, right, which is on the other. L5 up to L5 up to L6. So I drew this on level 5. I drew that wall and that wall on L5 up to L7 should be up there. That wall should be on L5. So remember, we set these elevations for the old L5. We set those elevations for the old building side. So I was trying to raise that level height. The top of this level was 73. Let's go back to the elevation. So see what's happening. It's dragging. I'm raising that height. If I make this 88, highlighted floors overlap, that's okay. That's the floor in the next building. We can ignore that. And then the top of this building, what did we say that was? Oh, right now we've drawn to L7 and not anything above that. So maybe what we want to do is add a couple levels and to make up the difference between 85.6 and 104 feet. Let's draw a couple more levels here. Create similar. I'm going to call this L8. Alright, it inferred L9. Let's draw one in between. L10. Did we already have an L8? We should relabel these so that we're consistent. So I'm using the L without the word level for this side of the building. L. Let's change this to L8. L9. We probably don't need name the corresponding. We probably don't need L11. No, there's nothing on it right now, so I'm just moving it out of the way. And make this 104 feet, and then we'll make that the top of the roof. This is 28 feet. Let's see if 28 plus 16 will just dimension between them and move. Move that to 16 feet above that. Move that one to 16 feet above that. And finally, and then the roof begins. So the roof, we said, that's 64. Must be bigger than that. Yeah, from here to there, it's got to be more than that. So 1.5 times 9.44. It's 18 feet. 18 feet. Let's edit this type and make it an 18-foot height mass. Generic 18 feet. Okay. So that brings this is now holding that up. L6 minus 6. This is holding that up. Oh, sorry. We're missing a level in between. Okay, so we need level, need another one of these. I'm going to call level 5, level 6. And this newly created L10, level 5. And then we need 16 feet between it, so there's one more floor, and then the difference is going to be so this difference between these two should be 16 feet, according to, and then the height of the floor will be whatever's, the height of this massive structure will be whatever's left. Let's measure that. $12 feet. That's cool. So select this element, edit type, and make it duplicated, make it a generic 12-foot height mass. We don't really care what it is. We're not occupying it, we're not programming it. But we want, if we're representing the building elevation, or if we're looking at the building elevation, we want it to look about right. The curtain, all that stuff's going to have to be adjusted. So there's a beam array. It's should be -4 feet under. Oh, our beam array is from level 6. Let's move it to level 5. 0. We gotta offset it 12 feet. I'm just doing this visually right now. So let's select it again. Constraint from level 5. No, so why do we need to move it 12 feet from level 5? That means that somehow this group has a built-in displaced height. I'm not going to worry about it much. Well, 10 inches. It looks like more than 10 inches. Start and level offset. Let's just apply. Oh, so we should select that to all. Select. I'm going to select all the beams and just remove that start and end offset. We'll use that to sort of reveal so now we're going to have to move all the rest, the occurrences. These are 6 inches from level 2, so they're sitting on the 0 start level offset is the top of these things, which are 32 inches or so high. So they're sitting above the corresponding levels that they're. Everybody understand that? If I measure the height of these elements, that's 24 and 32 inches high. So the top of those are sitting, the base of these are sitting on the corresponding levels. So when I select this, if I made the origin level offset 0, it'd be sitting, this would be sitting at level 2. I can't explain that difference, but we're going to adjust for it visually. So that appears to be under the roof. This, oops, selected the AutoCAD group. That model group has to go to level 4, but not 9 feet below level 4. Let's set it to 0 feet below level 4. And then we'll go and adjust. This one goes to level 3, but no feet below level 3. Now we're starting, it's starting to look proportionally correct. We have to adjust the floor slabs so that they sit on top of the beams and not beneath them, right? Let's see what the building looks like in 3D. Oh, and obviously we have to adjust the height of these columns and the height of the curtain wall for the new height. And all this stuff over here too. So why isn't this building appearing taller? Because we haven't drawn walls on those levels. Remember, we added level L8, L9, L10, and we have to draw floors on that. So I may start this, clean this up, because these are really just perimeter walls. So that one level L5 to L7 should be L5 to L6. And that one is wrong because we don't want anything constrained to levels of the new building. Up to L5, that's okay, there's a slab, up to L4, L3 old. L3 old up to level 4. That's confusing because we kept this label only for one of the L's. That should not be base constraint. Level 1 should be level. Do we have a level 1 old? No, we don't. So we're just leaving that on the ground. These slab, that's extra slab. Now, let's see what we have for slabs. This one's on L7. This one's on level 6. It should be L8. And then we need to copy it and paste it aligned to another level. The one we just created, L9. So that's on L8, that's on L9. We do have to make floor-to-floor adjustments. I know everybody's watching this thinking, why do we have to model the upper floors if we're not populating them? That is connected to something old. Let's remove that spot elevation and put a new one here. And that's the top of that floor. So now the building is proportionate or proportionately correct in height. We have to make adjustments in between